When we talk about network services, there are three main network services of which you should be aware, both for real life as well as for the test. And we're going to talk about each of these individually. We're going to talk about DHCP, then we're going to talk about DNS, and then we're going to talk about WINS. And again, you don't have to be an expert on any of these, and that would be an entire training course on each one of them in order to be an expert. But let's talk about DHCP first. DHCP stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, and what DHCP servers do is they give out IP addresses, and most of the time DHCP servers give out IP addresses to clients. Now, it's possible for DHCP servers to also give out IP addresses to servers and even to router interfaces, but it is not recommended. So if I were to add a DHCP server to a network, the reason that I would be doing that would be to simplify my IP addressing so that I get IP addresses on the clients and I don't have IP address conflicts. It just automatically configures the IP addressing. However, what you should know is the recommendations are that we assign IP addresses to clients with the DHCP server if at all possible, if we have a DHCP server. But we do not assign IP addresses to servers, and we don't assign IP addresses to router interfaces with a DHCP server. Those should be statically configured. The next service is DNS. Now, for a network like a Windows NT40 network, DNS was not a requirement. We could use other name resolution methods, so DNS was not necessarily a requirement, but a lot of Windows NT40 networks had DNS. But now with the newer operating systems, the newer server operating systems like Windows 2000, Windows Server 2003, you should know that Active Directory runs on those systems and that it absolutely requires DNS. So if I were to take away, well, first of all, I can't take away DNS from Windows 2000 and Windows Server 2003. It won't let me do it because it knows it's an absolute requirement. So we need DNS for the newer servers. For the older servers like Windows NT40, we don't necessarily need DNS. And what DNS, of course, does, it stands for Domain Name System, and what it is a service that is used to resolve host names to IP addresses so that we can type in names like msnbc.com and get to our web page. Well, msnbc.com didn't get us there. The IP address did, and then the IP address was eventually resolved to a MAC address, which got us onto the right page. So all that name resolution goes together. So it's a requirement for Active Directory. It's not required for others, and you should also just know that DNS is a service that resolves host names to IP addresses. WINS. WINS stands for Windows Internet Name Services. So Windows Internet Name Services, the first thing that you should understand about that is Windows is Microsoft. So WINS is a Microsoft NetBIOS name server. As a matter of fact, NetBIOS names are Microsoft. So when we're talking about WINS, when we're talking about NetBIOS, we're talking about Microsoft. And in specific, we're talking usually about what would be called legacy Microsoft systems now. Legacy clients like Windows 95 and Windows 98. Legacy applications that are designed to work on Windows systems. And the reason I say legacy is because we shifted in the last 5 years or so, we shifted from using NetBIOS name resolution to using host name resolution. So what you should know about WINS is that WINS is a NetBIOS name server, and therefore you need a WINS server, or it's a good idea to have a WINS server, if you have any clients that are still using NetBIOS name resolution, or if you have any applications that are using NetBIOS name resolution. Now, it can still happen even if you don't have a WINS server, because NetBIOS has a capability to resolve itself by broadcast. But if you want to reduce the broadcasts in your network, and you want to still be able to have NetBIOS name resolution, then the best thing to do is to have a Win server. If you have any clients that use NetBIOS name resolution, that would be legacy clients, Windows 95, Windows 98, or any applications, and that would be typically applications that were made for Windows 95, Windows 98 type of clients. So those are the three services that we need to know, and we also need to know about how the entire network works. And that we've been talking about how the network operates. We've talked about a lot of technologies and topologies. In this next section, this last section, what we're going to do is put it all together. The objective on the Windows or on the CompTIA 2005 objectives, the objective is troubleshooting. The objective is troubleshooting different topologies, but it gives us an opportunity to kind of put together some of the things that we've learned. So let's take a look at troubleshooting topologies and technologies. That's next.